There are pains we gotta follow, there are pains we cannot run when we're looking down the barrel of a gun. It is not about surviving, either living or you're dying. Stand your ground and never ever be afraid, 'cause we are one. 'Cause we are one. So break your chains, take your ground, make some noise and gather round, 'cause we are one. Yeah, we are one. We stand united. Whoa, whoa. United, together rise and fall, 'cause it's all for one, one for all. Yeah, it's all for one. And we will stand our ground.
Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the DreamHack Showdown 2019. We started with just 8 teams, and after 3 days of non-stop action, it all comes down to just 2. A huge shout out to Zowie as well as eSport Management for helping us set the stage ahead of our grand finals, and what a grand finals it will be. Besiktas taking on CLG Red, but of course to get here, we've had an awesome day of semifinal matches.
They have been indeed awesome. I mean, a lot of turnarounds as well. I mean, we were worried about CLG Red coming into today a little bit perhaps slow, perhaps their superstars not showing up, but explosive matches, really one-sided matches, I think.
Indeed, and with Besiktas, we saw a similar, very dominant performance. But let's take a look at the bracket just to catch you guys up to speed as to how we got here. It was Besiktas with that very convincing play, 2-0 over Dignitas. And of course, as Potter just mentioned, CLG also took down Demise 2-0. And now it's going to be a question as to which of these two teams that had shown such powerful play can prove themselves on that grand final stage. And we're going to dive into that grand finals in just a little bit. But I really do want to take one step back and go over each semifinal match, because we deserve to break down these teams and see how they got here. So let's start things off with that first semifinal match we saw earlier. It was Besiktas taking on Dignitas.
Yeah, and in this matchup, I mean, Dignitas, we really thought that they would get more rounds on the board. A lot of these rounds were so close, but Besiktas being able to close out this match 16-4, it was such a dominant fashion, and so many members of Besiktas showing up. We had Crazy coming up. She was really the crux for Besiktas, because she was able to close out so many rounds that they should have no business winning. She had a lot of 1v4s on Nuke and on Dust too, so she definitely showed up, and we can't forget about Petra, right? Her op. It's been so dominant this entire weekend, and she certainly showed up today as well.
Yeah, if they do wind up winning this tournament, I think Petra for me is going to be the MVP of the entire event. She has been phenomenal. And the thing with Dignitas, the problem we saw with Dignitas was too many small little individual mistakes being made. Milk especially, she was great on his entries, but you need to know when to rein it in and like compose yourself and try to win the round rather than just going in for the frags. Fundamentals, yes, but at the same time, when you're young, on this stage, it's so much at stake, you do tend to make the small little mistakes, and they got punished pretty hard for them, hard by Besiktas for those mistakes. The cool thing for Besiktas is, looking at them and Demise, both these teams only had to win 2 best-of-1s, and we asked ourselves, best-of-1 wins, will they be ready coming into day 3? Besiktas were like, yeah, we are very ready.
And of course, we can't forget to talk about a second semifinal match. It was CLG Red and Demise. And again, the big question here was, could Demise in a best-of-3 prove themselves? And today, it did not seem to be the case.
It really didn't, and the story of this isn't really Demise not showing up, it's CLG Red showing up so strongly. I mean, their crossfires, their flashbangs, everything about this series in CLG Red, it's a complete turnaround, I think, even from day 2. I mean, day 1, there was a lot of questions, and day 2, there was some questions, but it was rounds like this that perfectly illustrate exactly how perfectly it went for CLG Red. Kath underneath this balcony on Mirage, the way she moved and the way she waited for her flashbangs from her teammates, I mentioned it in the post-game earlier, but I gotta mention it again, it was very impressive.
And it wasn't just Kath and Emmy, but I mean, Blair, as we were watching backstage, Jennifer had a massive performance as well. And so to not just see the superstars play their roles perfectly, but to see Jennifer coming out and having the impact that she did, it bodes very well for CLG Red in this grand finals.
Absolutely. I mean, Jennifer was a demon on Inferno, and then Kath as well, so consistent. But what impressed me the most was that Mirage game where it wasn't even their pick. Was it their pick? No, it wasn't their pick. It wasn't their pick. They were so prepared on that map. That was the best game or map of Counter-Strike I've seen so far in the tournament. And that's perfection for CLG Red because the next game is going to be the grand finals. So they want to bring their A game. And I think they brought their A+ game coming in today.
They definitely did. And we saw little glimpses of it, right? On day 2, I mean, we saw them playing that Mirage. They had a really nice double pump fake that we saw. I mean, we haven't seen complex strategies like that coming out in this tournament so far. And it's because it gets really hard to connect those strats together and make sure that it works at the end of it. And you saw the struggles yesterday, but today the strategy was out in full force, and that really allowed CLG Red to be able to win these rounds in an easy fashion.
Well, I hope that they can continue that level of play as it is going to be a rematch. We saw that they weren't able to step up on day number 1 when they faced the Besiktas. We'll see if they can do that here in the grand finals. But of course, I have to remind you guys that it's not, a victory here is not just about winning the DreamHack Showdown itself. It's also about getting that spot in Rotterdam. So, if you guys are wondering how all of that works, we have a video to break it down for you.
So the winner of DreamHack Showdown actually directly qualifies for DreamHack Open in Rotterdam this year. So this is huge.
Man, getting a chance to go to Rotterdam, that's like what every female team dreams of. At least me and our team. It means the world to us. Rather want the spot than the money, 100%.
Everybody is excited and they're shooting for that. And I think it's a really good opportunity because you get to play against, other teams that are in the main circuit.
This just completely elevates the entire level of competition for all of the females in our scene.
It means more than money, like prize money or trophy. It's like, it really means a lot to us to play versus guys because we want to improve.
I think we have a good chance to show ourselves. It's a game changer. I think everyone is really motivated to win that trophy plus the invitation to DreamHack Rotterdam.
It's finally our chance to show what we can do against everybody and anybody.
To get a spot in DreamHack Open Rotterdam would mean a lot to us. We really want to prove ourselves and see where we stand. We don't want to just stop with female tournaments. We want to reach the big tournaments too. So it'd be really awesome to go there and see how we do.
Man, I feel like the DreamHack editors, man, you guys are just raising the bar with these videos. I got chill after chill watching that. It was especially almost bittersweet as the first player that we actually heard talk about all of this was Mimi. And as we saw the Copenhagen Flames drop out yesterday, I know that was an especially painful loss for them because they had been looking forward to that Rotterdam spot for so long. I mean, this is so much bigger than a win here.
It really is, and I mean, it's about just baby steps, right? And when we think about qualifying from Showdown to Rotterdam, it's certainly not a baby step, but what I mean by baby step is just having something in front of you that you can work towards and look forward to and have a goal for yourself. And I think Rotterdam is a goal that no female team has really ever had before in their grasp. And I think when I said it's going to elevate the level, I really truly do believe that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I absolutely agree. I feel like, when it comes to the Opens, a lot of these tier 1 teams are like, oh, Opens, they kind of think, okay, well, Opens, whatever. But that being said, I think you phrased it perfectly. It's baby steps. And for these teams here, for these teams today, for these women, it's everything. To have that opportunity to at least make it there and see what they can do.
It really is. And I mean, DreamHack Open is where so many of these tier 1 teams get their start. ENCE, Astralis, so many of these teams. Opens is where it's at, Stu.
Now, if you look at ENCE as well, like if you look at their major run, it started by winning DreamHack Winter, right? So you really can't ignore, in my opinion, probably the most crucial circuit of events in Counter-Strike. I still believe in that, and if you're going to be like, oh no, we don't have all the tier 1 teams, I'm sorry, you don't understand Counter-Strike.
I absolutely agree with you. And of course, we can't ignore the fact that the team that does get that spot is going to be one of these 2 teams in the grand finals. So please, Blay, walk us through the 3 reasons why.
3 reasons why this is going to be a spicy affair, because I like spicy food as well. It's going to be number 1, NA versus CS. Right now, the best team in the world is a North American team. And CLG Red, some people would say, are also the best female team as well right now. And Besiktas, they will be looking to get that win. Reason number 2, of course, is going to be the fact that we have already spoken about this. Is there a slot for Rotterdam, DreamHack Open? Everyone's really looking for it, apart from just the prize pool. And reason number 3 is the battle for number 1. The winner of this tournament, without doubt, will be the best female team in Counter-Strike right now. And currently, I think CLG Red do have a slight little edge, but can Besiktas come and knock them off and be called the queens of Counter-Strike Global Offensive?
I agree with you. I mean, this storyline is absolutely massive because I believe Goosebreeder was the one that said it herself, in that they have the advantage in that at Copenhagen Games, they won the entire thing and they did so in extremely convincing fashion. But that being said, we know that the core group in Besiktas have that experience of having been number 1 before during that era of Team Secret from 2015 all the way to 2017. So it's up for grabs right now.
It definitely is, and I think what bodes really well for CLG Red is, once again, that domination factor that we just saw them play in this series leading up to this grand final. One thing that's been going through my mind consistently is, will CLG Red choke? Will they come into this final and not be able to show up? Are each of these players individually going to go into that server with this, ice in their veins and be able to really deliver? And I gotta say, after watching this last series, I'm a believer at the moment.
Well, let's take a look at the map, Veto, because from what we saw, at least from Semifinals 1 and 2, that was very, very important. So do we have any expectations for what's going to happen here?
Yeah, I think Train and Dust 2 is going to get banned out early on. I think Train's going to be banned by Besiktas. That's a map the CLG are very, very solid on. No, actually, they're going to go for the Overpass ban, which is interesting.
I mean, they did beat CLG Red earlier.
Oh my God, we're going to see Vertigo.
Whoa.
You're clapping. You're excited about this?
Yes, I respect this so much, because you know what? Besiktas has been tweeting out that they've been practicing Vertigo. They've been discussing it in the interviews, and CLG Red is either calling that bluff or they're in for a surprise.
I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of it. I'll tell you why, right? If your map pick is going to be on the grand finals, yes, you could be really prepared on it, but no one has figured out Vertigo yet. And I've seen so many times in the previous couple of big events that happened where the teams who actually picked Vertigo lost it multiple times. This could come and bite them in the butt. I am not happy with this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And I hit Vertigo as well.
In DreamHack Sao Paulo, we saw it from Furia. We saw it from Furia versus Sharks. Sharks came in and thought they were hustling Furia, but it turned out to bite them in the butt. So certainly, I hope that's not what happens to CLG Red here.
Yeah, that'll be so disappointing. And because the final map is Inferno, right? I want to see an Inferno coming out as well. But Mirage from Besiktas, that's a confidence pick, because they're like, they would have definitely watched what CLG Red did on against Demise earlier on in Mirage, right?
They did, but you know what? I gotta say, CLG Red today versus CLG Red versus Demise on that Mirage, I feel like those are 2 very, very different teams. The one good thing for Besiktas is, I'm sure they were backstage watching this series, watching how CLG Red were winning those rounds on that Mirage, so they definitely have that going for them, but it was 2 different teams, I think.
Well, I can tell you guys, after 2-2-0s, I am looking forward to a grand finals where we go all 3 maps, and I am getting word that the teams are ready to walk out on stage. So without further ado, let's introduce our grand finalist teams. It's Besiktas and CLG Red.
We're in the final. Yes, we are. It feels great. I'm still so shaky. Cannot control myself almost. But we really deserve it so much.
She's gonna need a whole lot. Oh, maybe she can do it.
We are pretty confident. And if we keep playing like that, we will easily win.
Oh my God, this is insane. It's a 1v1. How on earth?
We're just gonna play our own game. We're not gonna try to adapt or anything like that.
It feels amazing. We're facing Besiktas in the finals. We lost to them in the groups. It wasn't our day at all, and today we're playing amazing. I'm really excited to play against them in the BO3.
It's been very nice for them to lean on. And Jennifer, oh my God! Forget about J-Lo. This is Jenny from the block.
I think we're showing really great progress. We're learning from our mistakes, and we're just ready to show what we've worked so hard to.
We're here to win, so watch your back.
We're coming for you, baby.
Kat says they were coming for you, baby. But Besiktas, if they have any words to say, they're probably saying not today, because at least at this event for the past 3 days, they have looked absolutely unstoppable. They've been undefeated thus far.
They haven't. I mean, the impressive thing from Besiktas' side of things is their movement, their mobility across the map. We saw the team speaking about their aggression, but really a lot of their aggression is very calculated. I mean, Petra, right after these op shots, going in for more. I mean, this sort of confidence coming out of Besiktas is something I haven't seen in quite some time, and this is so great that they're busting it out here in DreamHack Showdown.
And specifically with Besiktas, it seems so hard to stop them. Once they get that confidence rolling, they get this momentum just continuing forward. And what does CLG Red need to do to sort of disrupt that as best they can?
You know, I think the difference between this series and the series that Besiktas just had versus Dignitas, we spoke about Dignitas having almost just right there, almost turning these rounds around. And the foundation was there for Dignitas. On this side of things, CLG Red, they have that foundation and they've got the firepower to back it up as well. So I think the difference here is going to be is those really close rounds that Crazy was able to turn around for Besiktas. I think CLG Red are going to be able to close that one out as well. So Crazy definitely has to have the same exact performance, if not better, to be able to help out Besiktas here.
The interesting thing is Crazy, with all this clutch play she's had, he's also the youngest player right now in the server.
17 years old.
That is insane, right? Just to add on to what Potter just mentioned right now, Sue, it's very interesting watching these two teams play today, the entire tournament, where if you look at Juliana, Zaz, and the gang, it's much more composed, calmer Counter-Strike. And then when it comes to the way CLG Red play today, it's super explosive, right? It's a battle of not just NA and EU, it's a battle of differing, conflicting styles of CS. And that is going to mean a very, very good game of CS as well.
I agree with you, and take a look at Kat. She had an absolutely monster game in that second semifinal match.
She definitely did. I mean, 120 ADR. I mean, and even Jen, she had an ace on that Mirage. We haven't seen an ace coming out of CLG Red in quite some time. And those kinds of plays themselves individually, when they start stepping up to the plate, when they start racking up those kills and gaining that confidence, they're going to keep going for more. And more often than not, they're going to be rewarded because, like I said, CLG Red have the foundation to be able to back those plays up.
The most important question here is then, on day number 1, it was a really, really underwhelming game that they had against the Besiktas. Today, like you said though, CLG Red is looking totally different. So what do they need to focus on to ensure that day 1 performance doesn't creep up on them again?
I think they got to focus on being just as mobile as Besiktas, or if not more, because in that Mirage match, you saw, I mean, we saw Kat. I was trying to figure out, is she an anchor A? Is she an anchor B? Because she was everywhere on that site, on that Mirage, on that CT side. I mean, she was playing under balcony. She was playing the third man in towards B, defending. So I think this type of mobility is something that I really haven't seen that much from CLG Red. I appreciate it, and I want to see more of it.
And it was structured mobility. It wasn't just like out in the open blind and just going for gambled stacks, for example. And I think that's wonderful to see. That forced Demise to kind of second guess themselves. They're like, what are they doing right now? What's the setup? What are we going to do? Making them second guess themselves. And if they can do that to Besiktas, that could be the win condition right now.
Absolutely.
So between North America versus Europe, Blair, who do you pick?
Okay, it's the best looking team that is Besiktas throughout the entire tournament versus CLG Red, who play the best game of Counter-Strike I've seen this tournament, right?
Very difficult.
You two both NA. I know where you guys are going to go.
What do you mean?
I am CLG Red because they just impressed me in that final game. Do we have to ask her, Latvia? Come on.
Listen, I'm struggling just as much as you, Sudan, because Besiktas are so dominant. But I gotta say, I was so impressed with that Mirage. You're absolutely right. It was the best Counter-Strike game we've seen thus far in this tournament. So I gotta go with CLG Red as well.
I think my heart is saying CLG Red, but based upon just the sheer dominant way that Besiktas was taking every single map that they played, including the best of threes, I have to go with Besiktas here, but it's not just us on the desk that
traitor.
have thoughts. Listen, you never know where the heart is going to go. You know, the heart is
You've forgotten Cloud9's win, haven't you?
You know, I'm still crying. You're not crying. Anyway, moving forward, we do have our lovely casters. It's going to be Harry, Pansy, or based upon their attire, it looks like the Lemon Duo.
Oh my goodness.
Was this planned?
Of course he wasn't.
No, this is just how we dress. We're dads at a barbecue. We're having a great time here. No, I think Sue summed it up perfectly for me. It's a head or a heart decision. My head says Besiktas every time. History's told us that. My heart's saying CLG. I don't know what to do.
See, for me, it's my head is saying CLG and my heart is saying CLG. In fact, I'm just saying CLG.
Well, I'm thinking my head and heart are saying this is going to be a banger of a grand final, so have fun, guys.
Thank you. And yeah, for me, this matchup, if you've followed the scene for a number of years, which most of us have, you know, in some way, shape, or form, this lineup in some way has always seemed to be facing each other. It's been years in the making, and there's never been more on the line between these two. CLG Red and Besiktas, be it under the Team Secret banner, SK Gaming banner, it doesn't matter. This has spanned years to build to this, and as said, nothing has ever been on the line like this before. That shot at Open has reignited so much with these teams, and this is what it comes down to. We're starting out on Vertigo, but I feel this could be a three-mapper.
Oh, I certainly hope so, Lauren, as well. I mean, with these two teams, you hit the nail on the head, right? It's always been the story, NA versus EU, and it's been a back-and-forth game of tug-of-war. There's so much on the line here, and we're going to get to have our answer. Map 1, Vertigo, underway. Besiktas versus CLG Red, and CLG Red starting off over on the CT side of their map pick. Besiktas, they've been saying that, you know, they've been practicing this map as well. I like this pick from CLG Red, trying to cool their bluff, trying to play the confidence immediately. Besiktas setting up down here toward the B bomb site, going in sneaky right now. Jennifer will be that first point of contact.
Yeah, it's not just Jen. Goose Breeder is there with her as well, but she does get that contact. And it's a shutdown from CLG Red. 3 quick kills back to back. Puts Besiktas in their place, and it's just Petra remaining. This is a CLG Red coming out looking deadly. Petra wants to do a bit of damage, try and get something on the board here. By hook or by crook, it doesn't matter. 5 alive, shutdown. CLG Red, first round on the board. That's a confidence builder right there.
Oh, most definitely. And, you know, the thing for me, watching CLG Red at this event, I've just been so impressed with the kind of caliber of CS we've seen from this squad. It feels like they're playing so well as a team right now, Lauren. Right? Everyone's setting each other up. Everyone's trading. There's great utility usage. I don't know, it just feels like all the pieces of the puzzle are finally here for this squad, and I feel like that's why this is going to be such an exciting final.
And I'm glad that camera shot in the crowd was just there, because that was Claudia in the crowd who used to play for CLG Red. This team has been through so many players. You're trying to find that right combination, and, you know, Claudia's got that firepower that came in, but didn't quite have that same sort of, you know, synergy we're seeing here, for example. It's crazy how well they seem to be playing off each other. Bit of pressure coming in early, though, this time. Jennifer is down to 7 HP, but all the kills are falling into the right place. The T's are just not having much luck with that bomb. Getting towards the site, and again, it's a very swift and clean round. 5 alive again, and a second on the board.
Yeah, it's still yet to even see a kill come through for this Besiktas squad. They finally have rifles out here. They did just full eco that round prior for this exact reason. We're not going to get to see the AWP on Petra, however. And, you know, for me, she's been the real standout player in this Besiktas squad so far at this event, right? Just consistently top performances on that AWP. So I do feel like that's going to maybe be something that they look to bring out a little bit later on.
You look at these smokes in this hit.
Yeah.
That smoke came from Jen all the way back by spawn. Nicely, you know, setting up Diane to be able to get a little bit more territory going for themselves. I like this. I know a lot of people will know just kind of your basic set smokes on this, but I've got to say, already seeing this, it shows that CLG Red have been putting in that time, that little bit of extra effort. It's mostly my eyes towards Besiktas here, though. How much have they done? What's their prep like? What's their work like? How much they have to fall back on beyond just that individual ability?
Yeah, well, we're going to have to see something in this round because Di's already gotten down near ramp, but she will get dropped. Finally, we see Besiktas sat in this 5v4. They have an advantage now, turning their heads towards this B bomb site. Giuliano, she's been found on her own all the way over towards A, so she's given this 4-on-4 back to CLG Red. And now the brakes being pumped a bit by Besiktas, creeping forward over in mid, looking like they might want to try and split toward one of these bomb sites. Still kind of up for debate, though, as these players over at the ramp haven't really made too much progress. And now, with Cath finding both the lurkers over in mid, that bomb, its hand has been forced into B.
Yeah, Petra's trying to creep her way forward. They both are here. Gooseberry has been pretty dedicated towards this, though, and she isn't alone by any means. Emmy being caught. What? Apparently not caught out. Emmy's fine, don't worry about it. Krassi has to get back into this one, though. She has been phenomenal for Besiktas. Do not ride her out, even on this HP. Does go down a little close for comfort, but between Emmy and Cath, they shut it down again. Besiktas push back to square one.
And I mean, something that I'm a little bit scared of is, you know, whenever we've kind of seen this map, it does seem at least maybe like it's T-sided, but it's very back and forth. No one's really figured it out, but I do think with what we're seeing from CLG Red right now, there's been a lot of interesting kind of setups already, and we're only 3 rounds in. They've clearly been putting the hours into this map. And if they're able to get off to a strong start, that's a bit of a worrying tone, perhaps, for this Besiktas squad.
I think you're spot on there. It really does set the pace, doesn't it? A bit of a brutal reminder to Besiktas that, okay, we've been saying, yes, we can play this map, and they probably can to their own extent. Clearly, they know what they're up to, but in comparison to what we're seeing from CLG Red, I don't think this was just calling their bluff. I think they're genuinely prepared at this as well. This wasn't just, you know, that little cheeky pick. They seemed diligent, and they held this information back all the way through this tournament. I don't think we saw them even looking at this in the vetoes before now. Good little way back in there for Misa. That's Jennifer being tamed. As Cath maybe needs to be careful not overextend here. You don't start giving away options.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, these sorts of rounds can get out of hand so quickly, right? You hand over a couple of rifles, you give away a couple of guns to these armored players, and suddenly Besiktas, they're a real kind of militia that have just cobbled this spy together almost. They're going to try and continue pushing in through mid, and it's into the meat grinder they go. Die making quick work of them. It's only Misa left. She will shut down the first, but Goosebreeder immediately there, immediately close by to pick that trade up. And that's sort of been something that we've credited CLG Red with a hell of a lot. It does just seem like there's always this buddy system being ran, right? There's always someone nearby to help out, throw in a flash, get the trade. And that round there, no exception. So they are able to quell that partial investment from Besiktas.
All right, we got Diane up on the AWP as well, so I wonder where she's going to try and put this one to play. Deeper Molotov going down, going to try and slow the roll from the T's. Boost coming in, up and over you go. Just going to hold that nice passive angle on that one. Going to be perfectly fine up there. You can see the main point of attention being put to play, but the T's still have a little bit of room to work with. They're trying to work up towards that ramp side, looking towards if they can get a quick pick maybe, but it looks like CLG Red just aren't giving them many opportunities to get this going. Emmy having a little look around, keeping that information there, not being ever too far away from the teammate, trying to keep that support system in play.
Yeah, and this push up through ramp now looking to come in. The bomb is actually not in tow. They are just kind of probing this area. Cath will get Molotoved out from behind the sandbags, and they spot that smoke, obviously, so they know that someone's lurking here. And that...
Look at the utility coming in now.
Yeah, they're actually doing a great job of literally saving Cath's life, because she was a sitting duck, right? That's like shooting fish in a barrel. You know there's someone behind the sandbags, and there were still Molotovs up on Besiktas. So that utility, forcing these players off of the ramp, hasn't just kept Cath alive, but Emmy's been allowed to go aggressive and secure an advantage on the back of it. They've turned what was a very dire-looking situation into a great one. Goosebreeder here alone.
She has to hold this, though.
She has to. She has to hold this bomb site now more than ever, and she's not able to. They get in, and they will be allowed to get this bomb down.
Oh, will they? Jen is very close by, but unable to get line of sight towards the plant itself. 1-for-1 trade. Keeps the T's in this. Funneled in. The CTs do get the ding towards me, so that could be an issue. On the back foot now. Down to Krassi, and the spray is so good again. The 1v1 now. Die. RGL, veteran player, up against the young gun, and the veteran wins it out. It's Besiktas not getting on the board again. Diane, what a play.
Yeah, the fact that she's able to do that, especially, you could tell, right? Krassi was just feeling it after those first couple of peaks. She was so keen on taking those gunfights, and she really has been the only one putting up numbers for this Besiktas squad. She's sitting top of the board. We still have Petra yet to put up a kill, and she is and has been the top performer for this squad in every game we've seen them play. So to see her now maybe falling a little bit silent here in the first map of the grand final, worrying tone. She hasn't had that AWP, but she doesn't have it again here.
But I do want to say, if anything, if you wanted the best of 3 finally that's going to go all the way, this is This is the marker, right? This is the big tick in the box that's going to tell you, okay, Mirage, I think we'll have a very competitive matchup if we, have to look towards that. I don't think we do really yet. It's only 5-0, but and then Inferno looming in the background. What a brilliant prospect it is. Tantalizing at best. Now, look here, there's the tease again. They haven't had any clean entries here. There's always been trades. It's always been tough. I've got to say, CLG Red are making them work for every step they take. It's so difficult for them to find any room. A bit more patience being shown. Utility still into play for the T, so they can pretty much paint a picture wherever they fancy. Goose Breeder being a rock on this side of the things. Diane this time supporting as well, so keeping a little bit more of a calm default here as the utility comes in. They better be prepared because Zaz isn't that far off this now.
But yeah, Goose Breeder, she'll get discovered and flushed out. It's Cressy once again opening up this bomb site, creating so much space for her squad. And now she's just got to sit back and hope that they can kind of see this round out. Bomb looking to get into this bomb site, and it will now go down. Dai's going to make the call. These rotations are already coming in for the most part, but they have to deal with Misa over in mid. And she'll trump Kath in the head-to-head. Dai chiming in with one, up close with the AWP, and Jennifer's going to help out with another. Now the 3v3. This is doable. From what was a 5v3 into even odds. Cressy holding close, but Jennifer, the gift that keeps on giving. Now it's Emmy in with another. Trying to spray down Giuliano, but finally a round on the board for Besiktas. A 5v3 down to a 1v1, but they managed to get their first on the board. And it's a big one at that, because these last few rounds have been coming down to the wire, right? They have been close, and as such, this economy over on the CT side has never really established itself.
Yeah, Giuliano is such a scary player in those situations. I feel like she always can deliver clutches, even if the numbers do not favor her. And still, though, the first couple of kills she's been able to get on the board, they've been struggling early game here, but look at the economy. But apparently, Jen don't mind. She's fine on the deagle.
Oh, we almost saw the boost over towards A ramp come in there. They tried to throw that up. Kath and Emmy looking to do it, and if they had, they would have caught Giuliano pushing up through the ramp. But I think the timing just missing there. And yeah, like Giuliano, she's suspicious. I think she heard them trying to get into that boost, so she's just going to hold the ramp, expecting maybe some of these pistols look to go aggressive over here. Now that bomb actually beginning its rotation round, going to join up with Giuliano. Looking like this is going to be an A here. It's a 2-2 split for the CT side. Emmy, the one rifle that is in play in this round, is sat at this bomb site right now.
A lot of pressure on the young player. Little does she know it yet. Zero sound being made. Petra trying to really keep their attention dedicated towards the other side. Switching things around to kind of provide on the back of the lurker. Goose Breeder goes for a look and gets a bit of a face fall, but comes out the better of it. Now, Kath falling, again puts Emmy on an island. Here comes that utility. She knows she's in danger. The spray, it's so close. She almost had him, but Zaz pulls it away and is in prime position to make it hurt now.
Yeah, and Emmy, I mean, she's trying to get out of danger. She's kind of like skirting around, but she's trapped over here in the elevators and so low on HP. She will fall. Giuliano there to pick her up. Zaz last alive. Dai's just going to back away, try and hold on to something. She would love to get her hands on this AK, especially seeing as Zaz is so low. But she just can't quite seem to find this shot. Besiktas, they will be with the second round regardless. This one, more clean than the last critically for this T side. As well as that, this was the force from CLG Red, right? So we were looking for ways for Besiktas to get back into this game, and this is very much it. You've broken down your opponent's economy, you've put them in that situation where they've had to force fight, and now you get to reap the rewards of it. You've essentially got a 2-for-1 on the back of that last round.
Good little build here now. Has the economy favorable? We have seen a bit of a quiet performance from Petra so far, not seeing her being that headline player that she can be. Still early doors, still first map. Not the end of the world. She seems a calm player, not going to let that get to her, but this is maybe them starting to work things out. I really like that adjustment going over towards Giuliano, who seemed to be lurking initially, and then they kind of just pushed the players over there when they felt maybe the pressure starting them out on the other side, and it is a stack this time from CLG Red.
Yeah, I also somewhat feel like if maybe in response to hearing that boost, she assumed that on the back of them not seeing anyone down ramp, and then she heard players rotate away, right? I think she just kind of maybe called, okay, I think there's only one B. And then on the back of, I think it was Petra pushing in towards that B bomb site and spotting at least two. You feel like Besiktas had a pretty good idea as to how the CT side were positioned in that round. This one is just a bit of a throwaway, right, for CLG. They haven't really invested in anything. A couple of deagles, a scout that Dai was able to hold on to. And I mean, no kills coming through At least nothing worth mentioning. Besiktas should be finding this coveted third round, but maybe not. Maybe we shouldn't count out CLG Red too soon. I mean, there's no armor on Jennifer. Dies on only 11 HP. But a 2v3 and a bye coming up in the next round regardless. I'm curious if we see them maybe like take a little look into this.
See if there's any step. If they get any sort of, you know, giveaway here, something they can work with, maybe.
Yeah,
look at this.
It's just,
so
they're
hard,
so
right?
far away as well, right? And I feel like maybe if they had a kit saved, it might be worth giving it a look.
Maybe there was a shot.
Yeah, but it's just like at this point now, with the fact they're trying to sneak it and do it all stealthily, right? They don't want to. Sorry, they just don't have the time. They're going to have to run, and the second they do, they're both so low, right? This round's just undoable, and they know it. So they play things safe. They make that decision to save. And I kind of like that. I think in a way that's almost the more confident of the two, just knowing that when you've got everything you need in this next round, that's where you're going to be performing your best. That's when you can make the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this is just a calm CLG Red, which I like to see. Good. I'm really happy to see Diane really taking the reins well with this team. It seems like she's had a really positive impact towards them and still kept her performance on a good keel. So having that additional firepower coming in for them from the younger players, you know, Jennifer really stepping up. Also, Kath coming back into the roster clearly has allowed a little bit more of that firepower to be spread out throughout the side. So Diane doesn't have to always be, you know, tip top, but she's doing incredibly well. She's very much up there right now. This was the lovely Deagle work from Jen. Just keep her on the Deag, man. She's fine.
I mean, you'd certainly think so.
Big Deag energy. That's
big Deag energy.
That's what you talk about when you talk about Jen.
Interesting thing to note at the start of this round, by the way, Lauren, they had enough money to drop Petra the AWP, but they've decided against it, and instead it is just these rifles, but I mean...
This map I don't think lends to it stylistically. Jen, you know, I doubted your rifling, maybe I shouldn't. You're just as good with the rifle as you are the Deagle. The answer is Swift though coming back in from Besiktas, and success from Misa is massive. It's left Gooseberry so alone, so far away from any of this action. She might be able to catch a cross here. That could be bad. I don't think she can at this point. She's so out of it. Giuliano's there, and we've seen Besiktas now getting back into the pace. I want to see a timeout. I want to see something from CLG Red to maybe work out what's been going on here. Maybe slow down the roll.
Yeah, I do think, at this point, right, when you were 5-0 up, or even when you've lost a couple, there's that mentality of eventually we're getting, hey, look.
Oh, who is that in that Spice? Well, I don't know, some Spice Girls hoodie in the audience. That's wild.
Wonder who that could be. But, yeah, I mean, the thing, oh, hang on a minute. Look at this fast play down through ramp. They're just pushing
They're like lemmings just jumping off the ledge.
Oh, that's actually a pretty apt metaphor. They are all just fall into their deaths here. Kath and Jen, what can they do? I imagine not much in this round, right? You got a couple of pistols, and that's really it. Besiktas should be tying this up 5-5. But yeah, I mean, for me, the exciting thing is now we do see Petra over on the AWP. She's picked it up in this round. For me, AWPing on this map is almost like requires a similar kind of style of AWPing as like a T-side Inferno. You know, like you look towards kind of like your Kenny S's, you know, like to step up here.
Look at these angles. You don't have many long lines of sight.
Exactly, yeah. And so it does lend itself to a certain style of AWPer, right? If you are just like these hyper-aggressive AWPers who can just go running into bomb sites, catch players by kind of, you know, playing such an unorthodox style. And that was the first time I ever cast Vertigo was at a DreamHack, and I think it was at least, or maybe it was Pro League, but I got to cast Kenny S on this map, right? And he was just running around doing the most ridiculous stuff.
It turns into a railgun.
Yeah,
if you ever watched Quake back in the day, these AWPers make it look like a railgun. They can just fly around the place.
Yeah.
I'm glad we are seeing a timeout for CLG Red. I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to sit back, discuss, okay, we've started to lose a lot of grip on this. Our start was good. But now the gun rounds came in, once that economy started to fall with Besiktas, we've kind of lost that grip of it here. I think we need to see a little bit more. I think, again, if you want to look at it, you said there is a little bit of a T bias on it, not massively. You know, I guess at which level you're looking at which teams.
Yeah.
But you'd see it, you know, a T side putting up good numbers, or you'd hope to. Now, this is a big round for them to try and fight back.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, the CT money's just gone. So this round, these rounds could just keep building up. But Petra trying to take that peek onto the back of the bomb site. Die will come up trumps in that fight. That is always like such an awkward angle to peek into, because you either get the kill or you die. Those are the two options, right? Like it's just so high risk, high reward, and Petra sadly comes up short in that duel. First round we see her on the AWP, and she will lose out to the AWP on the side of CLG Red. But, oh, look at Giuliano. How's she gotten so deep within this bomb site? She's up through the ramp, and they've got no idea.
quite surprising. There's 2 players quite close by as well, but neither have been spotting this or worrying about it. Maybe posturing for more of a retake than initial pressure. I don't know. We'll see where that bomb goes, because that's yet to be collected at this point. That's still very much, you know, en route if they decide. They've been quite calm and trying to not give away the game. Giuliano slightly ahead of the curve here, waiting for the prime opportunity to strike. It's never going to be easy. You have to find that perfect moment. And she's going to feel it out. There it is. Oh, unlucky on the tag there towards Kath. And that's devastating. Emmy comes out at the perfect time. Just the synergy between each other worked well. Now the tees are on the way and the bomb's here, but the site's been lost. They've lost that complete little step that they had. And now the danger is really afoot.
Oh, but catching Krasty all the way over towards B, and now that allows for these rotations to come in. I mean, they've already seen players at ramp, so they know where the rest of Besiktas are. So they will have all 3 players at this bomb site ready to retake. Ooh, but Zaz in with 1, looking for another. Trade comes in from Kath, and now it's Misa left alone. She tries to plug in the numbers, but they know she has to stick the bomb plant.
Ooh, a little BM on the body shot there, huh?
I mean, I can't say I blame them, right? There's
Jen.
so much on the line, and you've just gone from being 5-0 up to having it, you know, that kind of gut-wrenching situation where you can feel your opponents getting back into it. So
I love a bit of BM. I'm not negative about it. I love that. Just remember, if you want to roll back, I don't know how many years you want to go back, but every time it felt like CLG were getting on a roll, it was always Besiktas or, you know, Zaz-Giuliano combination in some form that stopped them. And it felt like that was their hurdle. That was their game they could never break past. So for them, this is more than just a grudge match. This is your David and Goliath moment. And right now, it's not looking so bad for old CLG Red. They're still up around, they're holding their own, and they've even got the first pick here.
oh, Goose freed up with the Max 7, was hoping she would have followed up, but Misa quick on the trigger. Bomb still dropped all the way back towards T-Spawn, so this really could end up anywhere. We've still got Zaz lurking down towards this ramp position. Now Emmy, she's played down beneath the boost here over towards back blue every single round, so Zaz should have a pretty good idea of at least where one of these players are. And now that she's spotted Kath, she's already primed and ready, and looking at Emmy. 3 on 2. The A-bomb site opened up. Misa will fall, so she's given back that advantage that Besiktas had, but Zaz is on a roll and she's continuing to push. Now taking the angle in CT. She seems so aware. She's looking for the 4th, but she'll get shut down. And now Dai versus Petra. Petra, who by the way is yet to put up a kill in this game, in the 1v1, but she gets her first now, and she'll secure that 6th round for Besiktas, stepping up when it matters most.
And that felt to me like classic Zaz, able to dig you out of any of those situations. If you are maybe like a little bit of a lurker clutch player, sure, you look at Giuliano, but these sort of moments, that's Zaz from start to finish. That aim so crisp, so deadly. Can't get past it. And now the money again has been depleted from CLG Red. That CT side economy can be punishing, it can be brutal. They've been quite conservative though. And the Deagles, the armor comes through. And we saw them doing quite a bit of work before. Jen was wonderful and a bit of a turret with the Deagle, but hard to string it beyond that. You may be able to do a bit of damage, but the round win is always ever so elusive. Oh, Zaz doesn't see it. Jen again, deadly with the Deagle. Zaz left headless after that, player advantage, but how long can they keep this up? Dai this time gets a bit of contact there, but High Flash gonna try and keep her safe for a second or two. They're all playing with these sort of headshot angles, trying to work the next pick in.
Yeah, and I mean, Jen's all the way through mid. Oh my goodness, she could find the bomb. She hears the rotation, she knows exactly what's going on, and they don't realize, they don't know. These rotations are coming in now. There's going to be 4 players inside of this bomb site, and Jen with that AK in the back line. And you imagine they dedicate a player to ramp to keep an eye on the boost. So that all really decided, yeah,
wait,
there's
Misa's
Misa.
just found Jen? She must have stepped or something, or just the sheer brilliance of keeping that in mind is just very disruptive. There's Kath now left in the 1v3. Deagle and a Dream. Oh, if only you knew. I don't think it makes much of a difference at this point, as Giuliano sealed with a kiss on this one. Besiktas starting to string it together. Good T-side for them now after a very, very shaky start. You roll your mind back, that was 5 in a row. And then suddenly we've had the swing around. So this has been a hard half for CLG Red after that very good start. And if you're Besiktas, you're kind of almost forgetting how hard it was at the beginning of this game. You're just focused on how it's feeling right now.
I mean, they've got this in the tank, right? They've got this one, but it's if they lose, then Besiktas is on their way to a fantastic first half. I mean, considering, as you say, right, this has just been such a phenomenal turnaround, and that's been the real kind of impressive feat of all of this, is just the resilience, and especially when essentially up until just a round ago, you were almost playing 4v5, right? So now setting up over here towards ramp once again, this time Dai and Emmy swapping up these positions. The AWP going to be posted up over towards back blue. Some attention getting thrown out over here at the ramp and a smoke down on Tetris. But they're just holding, waiting to see if anyone from CLG Red creepy crawls into these crosshairs.
Wait, what is that molly? How did that just bounce like that? Thanks, Valve. Love that. Tees do still have 2 more mollies left, so Petra and Misa can at least make site hits with a bit more insurance that they'll be safe, at least from certain angles. With 50 seconds, they might need to depend on it as well. It looks like they're all kind of gathering around towards B, but they don't have the bomb here just yet. That should be something they need to consider, as it looks like Zaz will go back and gather that one up, but Dai stands her ground. Giuliano goes down, but that's on the other side of things. That's almost irrelevant to this round, at least. It might keep their attention there longer, if anything, but Emmy's pushed up for the info as Goose Breeder waiting on the off angle, gets the tag, not the frag, and the T's continue forward. Nice work from Krasty to find Kath. It will be the bomb going towards the site in the hands, the safe hands of Zaz. Jen lingers in alone and, well, speeds on her own until the final kill. Krasty, the young gun, again, wanting more here.
And she has been so good in these situations, just time and time again, making them look doable. Emmy and Dai on the other side, and Krasty swinging wide, will get shut down. They're able to deal with her this time around. It's close, but no cigar for Besiktas in that round. CLG Red going to tie things up 2-2.
Huge round from Diane then. That kill on Giuliano, I think it was, and then coming over and being perfectly supportive on that site was exactly what you want from an AWPer there. And this, what was that kill on Giuliano? Swinging it over to the other side of things. That was a catch-up on Misa. And then at the end, just closing that one out. All around brilliant play from Dai. So keeping them very much afloat here, 7-7. Final round of the first half coming up, and I feel like we finally got a big game on our hands. I feel like some of these games have been one-sided, and it's been a little bit, sad, because you want that close matchup to really show it. And I think we might have it here, and hopefully Emmy isn't afraid of heights.
Yeah, I don't think I could sit in that position ever, but...
Clammy hands.
Yeah, and I'd be sweating, but she's looking
Bro,
composed
I couldn't do
right
that. It
now.
makes my hands feel bad. I don't like it.
Oh, Zaz hasn't seen her. Zaz didn't realize. It is actually, it's a great position to use, but it's proper gremlin-y, right? Like...
Well, they are known as the Gremlins.
Yeah, that's true. And let's see. No, Zaz has spotted her. Oh, she's in with the double. The bomb site's open, and Zaz continuing to push. Will go into the moors of Jennifer, and she saved this bomb site 3v3. Dealing with the 2T players that were looking to get into the A bomb site and lock it down. Had she not gotten both of them, this bomb could have just gone rotating up through ramp and you would have been in a retake scenario. Now for CLG, 3v3. Jennifer moving on to the AWP and just keeping her position here at A. She looks like maybe she thinks that she's done enough, and this might have sent Besiktas packing, but it has not, and she'll fall now. So finally that coveted bomb plant will come through.
Bomb going down. What can Kath do about this one? Smoke completely occluding her vision. Unable to get the spot she was so desperately wanting in this one. And Goose Breeder to find Petra, pulls it back to a manageable spot, but 19 HP ain't a great deal, but you gotta go for it. By hook or by crook, you gotta try and make this happen. Utilities at an all-time low as Misa just biding her time, waiting for the next pixel to look out of place to pull that trigger. Next challenger, Goose Breeder tries to swing on it. It doesn't work out in the half. Shut down in the end by Besiktas.
Yeah, what a first half. This is certainly living up to the promise of being a close final. This is still, this is just the first map. There's still so much more to come, so stick around and do not go anywhere. We'll be back with the second half after a break.
what a close scoreline. I don't think we could ask for anything better here to highlight the gravity of this game. Coming into the second half of the first map, I don't know what we can say about this. It was an incredible tear from CLG Red to start with, but Besiktas showed teeth, and they really took it back there. And they do lead with 1 round to the good.
Yeah, which considering the 5-0 start from CLG Red, it was one hell of a comeback from Besiktas. Now the question becomes, is their CT side up to snuff? This is really where we get to see what Besiktas is made of. In this matchup, Misa gonna spot that first player crossing. Oh, there's Krasi showing up. She'll take down 3 before the trade comes in, but she has been so good at creating all these favorable scenarios for Besiktas. Now bomb down, Kath and Dai. Well, Dai's dead, and Zaz and Giuliano gonna finish this off. It's a long way down, but it's only up from here for Besiktas.
That's a bit of a statement round, isn't it? And I feel like you put Krasi in those positions where you just want a turret, right? You don't need much more than that, just frag out. Sit there and frag away. And she's so good at this. I think, to me, she has been one of the most highlight players that we've seen so far. And keep in mind, Besiktas found her just playing Faceit games. She's not played in any official teams before. She's never been, like, you know, in any event like this. It's nuts.
Well, this is like, for me, this is something that's been so cool, is like how much young blood there's been. But the crazy thing is like, you know, it's hard enough going to like a LAN for the first time with like, at this level to begin with. But then you throw in the fact that the winner of this locks in a space at a DreamHack Open, right?
It's crazy.
This is like a lot of pressure for even the seasoned veterans of the game, right? Like, you know, sitting here right now, even though you've got players like Goosebreeder who have been around for a very long time, it's like, you know they're still feeling that intense pressure.
Adrenaline.
Yeah, you know how much this means to them.
I walked outside and the Besiktas girls were out there after their game, and I was speaking to Giuliano briefly. She's like, my hands are still shaking. I still got the adrenaline pumping. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you let yourself finally kind of sit back for a second and realize what's happened, and it's still very much an intense situation.
Oh, well, this round, it's quick and clean, everything in between, just as it should be from Besiktas. That was just a flat eco for CLG Red.
Now's the big one, though. This is the reinvestment. Decent purchase, too. All the trimmings on that utility. No warp out, but you can't be too mad about that. Beyond that, though, on the other side, still a very, very nice buy. No warps to be seen, actually, for either side at this point. Let's see what the T's go for. Emmy, rinse and repeat. Same old, same old. Petra a little bit more aggressive. You look stylistically against the other side of things. Petra very much pushed up here.
Yeah, that positioning here behind these sandbags, yeah, I was going to say, might be fine right now, but the second this smoke fades, it's a very...
Oh my God!
Who was that? Was that Giuliano just running into top mid? Smoke was down, and I was going to say, this is something that we've seen teams try and do more and more, is fight for this elevator control, because it gives you such a fast rotation between the bomb sites. But it might not matter, because as this push has come in, Misa able to drop Emmy, maybe getting a bit overzealous there. Dai's not nearby to trade either. She's trying desperately to get back into this bomb site and find the equalizer, but with 3 players on the other side, she is going to be hard-pressed to do that.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is here. It looks like the T's are going to try and draw the attention, give Dai that room to work towards B, give her a second or two. So if she gets anything, she's been spotted now. There's another player on there, Krasi. Even though she was low, she was waiting on swing contact, and she got it. 1 HP, still does the job. This is a shutdown, shut out. CLG Red are getting nothing here. That aggression completely caught them off guard. That map control so constricting from the CTs. They're showing some real potential here, some real power plays going out. Goose tries to make it happen, but the 1 HP hero still finding kills.
Oh, Jennifer will shut down the first, but there's so many more bodies inside of this bomb site. Besiktas up 11-7. And I tell you what, for me, it almost feels like the way that I was describing these two teams is kind of reversed. Like Besiktas, I was saying, well, you know, it's like a 3-core fragging kind of trio that I would look towards, whereas CLG Red, they're the team. Whereas these last few rounds, especially since moving into the CT side, the way that Besiktas have been playing off of one another, the way that they've been going for these kind of bait and switch positions, I've been loving it. Petra pushing down ramp, I don't even think was designed to get kills. It was just to draw the attention so that Giuliano could come in and finish off the players down in ramp. I really like that. I haven't really seen that take on the mid aggression before.
This is interesting. So I think we all look at Besiktas as a team that had the firepower and always did. And they got a very solemn reminder that you can't just bank on individuals for so many years. And they lost that crown because of that. They lost their kingdom for it. But now they've had to kind of prove themselves again, pull themselves back together, show why they were that good for so long. And I honestly didn't expect it on Vertigo. I thought this was going to be CLG Red's map, and then it was going to be, you know, that kind of back and forth. I get worried. We don't see much more from CLG Red if this is it. But their money's not been great yet. We haven't seen that full, you know, fledged run of purchases because, you know, it's how it runs out on this map. But they're running down low on rounds, and Giuliano is starting to just pad out those stats. As we're down to 3 for the T's, but they only had a light purchase. Jen going to do what Jen does, which is just be the Deagle master. And Dai chimed in with 1, so still a little costly for the CTs, but at this point they've built up some decent enough money.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that they spoke about back on the desk was how CLG have almost tried to like call Besiktas' bluff, right, with this Vertigo map pick. And I think it's pretty evident now how this CT side is panning out, especially the Besiktas have been putting out in the hours on this map. Even in terms of how their CT setups are working in comparison to what we saw from CLG, you just note there's so much more movement, there's so much more fluidity within this CT side for Besiktas. We're seeing a different default almost every single round. So CLG Red are really kind of kept guessing as to where these players are going to be. And this round's no exception. Zaz going to shut down the remaining bodies over here inside of A. And Besiktas continuing to build up this lead. But yeah, I mean, going back to that point I was making, like for CLG Red, their CT half, it was working great for those first 5 rounds, but then it just went very stagnant. You know, like you think about it, Emmy was always paying back behind back blue.
Yep.
I know, it just felt very rigid. Whereas what we're seeing right now from Besiktas, they look so comfortable. You know, they seem to really have a solid understanding of when and where they can afford to push and prod on this map.
That's the thing, it's the affordability that they seem to really have drilled into this now. I'm waiting to see the answer back from CLG Red. I don't know what it is. I can tell you now, I've not casted CS in a long time, and the last time I casted was before Vertigo was in the map pool, so trust me, I am not well versed in where you go to as a T side when you suddenly get shut down. It looks like they are trying to draw players at least away from A for now. Bomb yet to fully commit either, so they're still keeping their options open aplenty. Giuliano on the lurk, on the little look around. She'll be kind of hunting her own way around this. Krasi under a little bit of scrutiny here, a little bit of pressure, but sees no one on the site.
Yeah, CLG Red looking like they want to hit this A bomb site. Now, when Vertigo was first added, this was the site that you just kept on hitting. It was so easy for the T's to get in. Since adding this hole in the wall, it does feel like we've seen teams move away from A a little bit more, right? There is like a bit more hesitation. Because before, if you wanted to win, you went A. They're going to try the old recipe
That's a nice setup, look at that.
And now they catch Giuliano trying to drop down and get into the back line. Petra's watching from CT, and it looks like a few of these smokes have missed somewhat. So CLG Red having to hold back at ramp for now. This has slowed the approach, but now they try and cross, and this is where Petra rears her head. Krasi's in with another. Dai will manage the equalizer, but Petra, welcome to the server as she's starting to put up some numbers.
13 seconds. Emmy's got to go. Oh my god, what? She's actually got the fight on this. 8 seconds. She's pushing as best she can. Does have time for a plant as well. Oh my god, it's still game on here. Misa. Oh, Emmy! What a time to make the play. Cool, calm, collected. Does not even break a sweat. Straight up murdering people. Giving CLG Red a little bit of a lifeline.
Emmy is... That was fantastic. And the thing that I've really loved about watching her is every time the camera cuts back to her, she's got like some cheeky thing that she's just going to throw at it. You know, a little bit of...
She looks more emotional when she's, you know, doesn't get high-fived or fist-bumped back than when she's like clutched out around. You know what I mean? Like, she's just like stone cold, just like, sup? I meant that.
Ooh, this is interesting. Double sandbags. Now, I'm imagining the idea here is if the Molotov comes in, you smoke it, and then if one of you dies, they don't anticipate a second player there, right? But you're really hoping, if that's how they're going to try and play this, that first player can at least kind of get a one and done. Because otherwise, you're putting a lot of faith in just one person to lock down an entire bomb site. might not even play into this round. It might not be something that CLG Red ever know about, because right now, well, actually, as I say that...
Maybe they will. Kath's having a walk.
Yeah, she looks curious. Do they have a Molotov here at ramp? Yes, they do on Emmy. That gets thrown in, or at least attempted, but no!
They don't
Petra
even find out about the
out.
second. Oh, no.
Oh, and Giuliano's in T-spawn. CLG Red are just getting shot from like all these positions where there just shouldn't be enemies. And now they're trying to go back. And here's the thing, they only knew about Petra. So the second she makes this contact from the bomb site, they think they've cleared it. And Zaz now hidden away. That's it. This is all done. Zaz gets them both. And it's a round for Besiktas. The double setup, the bait and switch works brilliantly.
Yeah, put a fork in it. That round was certainly done. Now, I'm looking at those individuals. Who have we got from CLG Red? I'm looking at... Kath has had a very quiet game. We were singing the praise of Kath because she was playing phenomenally in that previous game, in the semi-final. She was having a real big matchup. We've not seen the same here. And whether it be just simply not allowed to play into it like she was before or what it was, but I want to see those individuals consistently, thriving in that situation.
And I would always argue it's better to be a slow starter that can build up than someone who comes in really strong but then can't like wither the storm, right? Like,
fair, yeah.
And right now it feels like Petra is kind of the first option, right?
Yeah.
She got off to a really slow start. She got her first kill in round 14, and now she's, competitive up there with the rest of her squad. 10 kills to her name. She's starting to find her footing again. Whereas Kath, someone who has been one of the real big-time performers for CLG, she got off to a decent start, but now it's on this T side that we're really seeing that kind of slow down.
Oh, and Zaz is feeling it. So is Giuliano. This is when you just struggle against teams like this because they get that confidence building. Of course, CLG Red did only have those pistols. It was a lighter investment, but it gets in your head. It's a mental game as well because you're starting to feel frustrated. Like they're literally just running at me, and I can't stop them. Fuse Breeder swings out, going to punish one. There's going to be a second. She can't make it out of that. It's another round, and we're closing in towards the end of this matchup. Unless CLG Red put a stamp on this game right here, right now, and they've come up with something, this is Besiktas' map, and they didn't pick it.
No, they did not. CLG Red, they threw themselves into the lion's den, and maybe that wasn't the best idea. Besiktas just one away from map point on their opponent's map pick, as you say. Certainly would be a hell of a way to start this best-of-3 grand final. Petra, aggressive down at ramp. She'll get caught.
That's big.
And Jennifer just rushing into this A-bomb site, and it's the sheer pace from a team that's been playing so slow, now just blindsiding Besiktas in this round, and it is just Misa and Krasi left.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they'll know where Krasi is. Yeah, Misa does get the contact. It's fine, she's down pretty low, but with 4 alive, you've got to feel this is going to be the round for CLG Red anyway. But yes, as you said, the pace coming in off that really isolated those two players being aggressive. I think it was Zaz, and I can't remember who else it was who went down initially, but that was a really quick pickup. Nice to see CLG Red showing they have a little bit of a playbook here to lean back on. Maybe they have a little bit more to bring out. Couple more plays to catch some people off with, because they certainly need it here, but you can't just bank on that every single time now. You need to have a consistency that can deliver you rounds. They have broken the money, at least with Besiktas. They can be down to pistols, bit of armor, but there's still such a long road ahead of them.
Well, back towards A for Kath early on, and can't say I blame them. It's your first stint of success in a very long while for CLG Red. They're looking for more of it. They've got a taste of the good life. Molotov going in. That was, I think, meant for the boost. I'm pretty sure that's a missed molly. But shouldn't matter. There's no one up there. They are being very cautious. They're anticipating that the money isn't great for Besiktas here, so they've got the right read on it. It is just these pistols with some armor behind them.
But this map is quite scary for those pistols. It's so close quarters, there's so many angles to clear. You have to be really meticulous, and they have used their Molotovs, but not on the kind of deeper side of things, so you just gotta hope you're banging out those shots, which they're doing. Jen, Dai, all lining up. The threat has been neutralized. Misa can be a nuisance, but that's about as much as you're gonna get out of this round. CLG Red's gonna get to double digits here. You're gonna have a 14-10 scoreline. Money should be able to fall back with Besiktas after that, though, so game back on.
Yeah, the game feels like it's very much back on, and if you're Besiktas at this point in time, I feel like maybe they're starting to get a little bit worried about this A-bomb site, right? Petra and Zaz have been playing over here, and while they were having like a lot of success early on and things were looking good, some of that was kind of coming off of this pressure that Giuliano was putting on down in mid. And it does feel like in these last few rounds, CLG Red have just been reading into that, right? She hasn't really been switching that up all too much. Even in that round there, admittedly, it was just pistols, but they had a player just dedicated to babysitting Giuliano almost, just making sure that she can't come in the back line and wreak havoc. So maybe we see a bit of a switch up as we head into round 25. Will be Petra and Zaz back towards ramp, and they're assembling this boost to try and spot down. There's the change, here's the switch up. Ooh, Cath.
There it is.
Flicking back, they attempt the boost and they get shut down for it.
Yeah, call out the name, and apparently she starts finding the frags. That's what you want from Cath. Get her operating on that level, get her feeling confident, delivering like she was before. That first opener, and look at the utility, it's so lacking with Besiktas. They have very little late game to play with. If it does come down to a retake, but these girls can gun, they may not need to depend on that, but we'll find out. 1 minute and 13 on the board. Dice still a mile away, but she's playing the game she wants to, keeping their attention towards B, keeping them away from those rotations towards A, isolating them both. Die on the way around. See Jen starting to probe towards the side, just kind of keeping tabs if anyone's starting to have a little look. Smoke goes in. That's Emmy going down. That's a bit of a loss there. Maybe Emmy a little further ahead than she should have been. No trades coming back in on that, but again, issues arising. Jen falls to the same fate.
Yeah, Giuliano's still kind of the unknown factor. As I was saying, she's always been playing these flanks, right? Yep. So you've spotted Petra, you've spotted Daz, you know they've been the duo here inside of A, and then there's the swing from Giuliano, and that surprises CLG Red. Besiktas going to be reaching map point, 15 to 10. We need 5 rounds in a row from CLG Red. That is the most they've been able to string together consecutively in this map so far, and that was the first 5 rounds, if you remember. So they really do have to turn things up a whole new level almost if they want to get back into this one.
Okay, timeout time. The final hurdle awaits. It's only map 1. Mirage Inferno would be next. A pocket pick from CLG Red, calling the bluff of Besiktas, and they found out that they certainly do know this map.
And one of the things that Sudan kind of spoke about over on the desk was saying how, you know, it just feels like such a gamble. And I think one of the reasons for that is just because sometimes, you know, you might be, and the amount of times you hear this as well from other teams, is that they play a map in practice, it's phenomenal. But then it gets to the tournament, it gets to the big stages, they try and bring it out, and it just doesn't go that way. And maybe that's kind of what's happened here for CLG Red. Maybe this was a map they felt very comfortable on. All the theory was there, but when it gets put into practice, that's when the problems really start to show.
Gotta give them some time here, though. They're looking for those picks. Emmy's finally got the AWP. We're seeing her trying to maybe make something happen towards A. Petra and Zaz are over towards that side, so maybe she could find something. But Giuliano's kind of leaning between both, as she does. We know she likes to do that, kind of just bides her time either way. Emmy gonna at least hold the doorway. Petra, bit of an off angle to this. Molotov's not really reaching that fast, so Petra not having to move just yet. Still safe. Does Emmy check on this? Does she have an idea? She definitely does, and she loses out. Not getting the shot she needed. Maybe the radar giving it away, but the shot certainly didn't come through. No trades there either. The T's are now left in a bad spot here.
Yeah, you were hoping Emmy could have opened up, could have made some space with that AWP. That's always what she's so good at. But no, now you've lost her early. You're sitting in the 4-on-5. Map point against you. 40 seconds left on the clock, and whatever play you had planned, if you're CLG, that's kind of just been thrown out the window. So they're going to scramble back together, head back towards B. 2 smokes, 1 Molotov to try and flush these players out. Now this B setup hasn't changed in a little while. Misa playing over here toward the connector, Krasi at back bomb site. The Molotov should be enough to flush her out. It will land, and actually that looks like it could be. Yeah, that's perfect. She gets pushed out of the open. Misa trying to trade, trying to keep this in favor of Besiktas, and she's doing a good job dancing around this smoke.
Time.
Misa finding another. Yeah, there's 8 seconds as they plant this bomb, and Cath is gonna get one through the smoke. Goose Breeder's full, and Misa, the hero of this bomb site, and now it's Cath alone. Bomb ticking down, it's planted for her. She'll swing wide, doing damage, but it's not enough. Trying to get the reload off, and round comes Petra. Besiktas 16 to 10, and they'll go 1-0 up to start the grand final.
That's how you get things going. You really should not be calling the bluff of Besiktas. We know they mean business and they stick true to their word. That's a big statement to make on map 1, but it's far from over. This is a grand final where we've already seen the CLG Red can play Mirage very well, so do not think it's over just yet. But that's a huge confidence builder for Besiktas here.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in those videos, right, before this game went live, just how much this means to these two teams. And I feel like, in a way, both of them are going to be walking out now, like, trembling with the adrenaline of that one. Even if you're CLG Red, right, you know, they've still got to try and get themselves pumped up, be ready for Mirage. It's been a good map for them at this event so far. And also, I mean, they kind of recently defeated Besiktas at, Copenhagen Games.
I believe
2-1. They knocked them out in the semi-finals. So I'm hoping, you know, that we can kind of see a bit more of a duel here and that Besiktas don't just walk over them in Mirage.
I really hope the same. We'll find out, though. Let's head down to the desk to find out their thoughts on that last map we just witnessed.
Thank you very much, Pansy. Wow, I feel like, you know, before this weekend started, we looked at the map pool from Besiktas, and I think all of us, including the other teams, had thought, you know, Nuke, Vertigo, they're not going to like it. They don't want to play on it. And it looks like they had all of us fooled. First with Dignitas, with that Nuke pick. They took them down 16-4. And now on CLG Red's map pick on Vertigo, they take them down again.
They really did. And I mean, CLG got a little bit hustled here. We were afraid of that. Sudan, you were afraid of that in the pregame. And that certainly happened. And I got to say, there was 2 rounds in particular coming out of Besiktas that was so impressive. Really clever play coming out of them. And it was that A stack with Petra and Zaz behind that box towards A, and it was such a nice bait and switch through CLG Red completely off guard. And Giuliano's aggression in middle, time and time again, she was able to go towards that little doorway and look down below, do some splash damage, and it was a little bit too much for CLG Red to handle.
Yeah, it kind of felt like, although to be honest, in the first half, when you have 7 CT rounds on Vertigo, that's pretty much a win condition met right there. You should be winning this. But it kind of felt like CLG got a little too intimidated on the T side. They were playing it so very slow. How many times did Besiktas push in as a CT, get the info, and then manage to get the flank in? And while they're executing, they just get completely smashed, right? It kind of felt like they started playing scared in the second half, and that was why they lost the game. However, just want to point out again, Crazy, 17 years old, youngest player playing in probably the biggest game of her life. She has come to really deliver, and boy, has she.
She absolutely has, and it's got to be those impact kills, those clutch moments. There's time and time again where Krasi will kind of be quiet, and that's because of her positioning, but then when the enemies, when CLG Red come towards her site, she's getting 2Ks, 3Ks, particularly that pistol. I mean, she got 3 crispy aim headshots, and very impressive.
I just want to point out something. Petra's 16 kills, and she's got 14 entry kills.
That's crazy.
What?
That is an actually crazy statistic.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Is that wrong? Because
I feel like
that's mental.
Oh.
That's correct. That is probably the most number of entry kills I've ever seen in, I don't know since when. That's insane.
That is insane. And you know, just looking at these stats, some other things to point out is that Jennifer actually top fragged on the server with those 24 kills. However, in comparison to that, some of the other people that were quiet, Kath had only 13 kills.
And I mean, it's got to be what Sudan mentioned. It's on their T side, because their CT side, they started off great.
That was a great start,
Each member on CT side of CLG Red were stepping up to the plate. Diane's opping, her mobility. I was impressed. And then that second half came around, and the fear in their eyes kind of came up. They started kind of freezing up. Little clever plays like hiding behind the boxes from Petra and Zainab. These kinds of plays generally don't pay off so hugely, but in this instance, it definitely did, and it's got to be the scared factor.
Map number 2 is going to be a huge test now. Every single time that we've had the chance to talk to Besiktas, they've said over and over again that if you don't have confidence, you have nothing. And this is going to be the test now for CLG Red, because it was their map pick, they lost it, and now on Besiktas' map pick, which is Mirage, they really need to step it up. Can they do so?
That's a problem, right? If you look at Besiktas throughout this entire tournament, it's in sheer consistency, right? Great counter-attack, sheer consistency. For CLG Red, like we mentioned, day one, kind of like loosey-goosey, kind of low. The game earlier today, incredible CS, and now Vertigo, I did say you don't want to go for that map pick. They actually almost proved me wrong. They were looking so solid, right? But if your confidence is going to die out now, bear in mind, that Mirage is freaking amazing, what we saw from them. But if that confidence is not there, this could be a quick affair. We might not even see a third map here.
You might be right, but CLG Red need to approach this as 2 best of ones. They need to just erase Vertigo out of their mind. I respect their decision. I respect the fact that they went for it. They took a chance, but now it's Mirage. They just had a great showing on it. think of this as 2 separate maps, 2 separate BO1s. Approach it in that manner. Don't get intimidated. Go out in full force.
If they can just show what they showed earlier today, I absolutely agree with you. I do think we can see map 3 if that's indeed the case. But guys, we are going to head to a short break. When we come back, it's going to be map 2 on Mirage.